Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft and Bill Belichick are going to get in a room. They could be in a room together right now, for all we know.
Perhaps. Maybe.
And the future of the New England Patriots will be mapped out with a significant role in the conversation being the past. Because this is not just anybody you're having this conversation with. This is the greatest coach of all time. I have no problem saying that. Was I alive for all of Tom Landry? Was I, aware of all of Don Shula, alive and where? Nope. I'm talking about right now, this day and age. And I don't want to hear what his record is without Tom Brady, because Brady needed Belichick in the same way Belichick needed Brady. They were the perfect organism for each other, and what they did together will never be topped. Just won't. And I feel safe in saying that, and Robert Kraft knows that, because without Robert Kraft, Belichick doesn't go there. Don't forget, Belichick, I guess, saw Woody Johnson coming and said, I want no part of it. I'll go to New England. And went there. And did get, yes, lucky to get Tom Brady at 199, and then saw what Brady did, and then had the gumption to keep him playing when Bledsoe and his $100 million contract got healthy. We can go on and on and on and on. Kraft knows. Both Krafts know. And they also know that what they build there in terms of their history and their future is the legend of the past needs to be part of their brand. Plain and simple. They give out red jackets for a reason there. And there's lots more red jackets to be given out that they haven't given out yet to people from their past. I'm talking about their Hall of Fame. And it means a lot to them. As the Ring of Honor does to Dallas and things of that nature, when there are rings of honor and stuff like that, and you do have past to celebrate. Trust me, I don't know how many green jackets the Jets will be giving out these days if they had such a thing. Gold jacket, green jacket. All right. So Belichick's got to put a red jacket on one day. And what happens in this room that's got to be part of it. It's got to be part of it. And there's a certain respect level that needs to be paid to both guys. And I'm sure both guys feel that respect needs to be paid to both. But the idea that they're just going to run it back and there's nothing to be discussed, I think, is fantasy land. The question is, what does Bill want? Well, we found out finally today, because in his press conference today on Zoom, there was no more ability to say, I'm planning for the next game, because there is no next game. So Bill finally gave some answers to some questions about what his future is and what he wants. This is the first one up, his future.
How much, it's one day after the season, but how much do you want to be here to fix this? And you often talk about your passion for coaching still being there. How much does that all factor into you just, want to get this right here in New England after the year that you guys just had?
Yeah, well, Dan, I just opened with that. And I'm going to do everything I can every day to do the best I can to help our football team. That's what I've always done. It's never been any different for me in my career. I learned that lesson from my dad growing up. You work for the team that you're working for and do the best you can for it until somebody tells you different. So that's not going to change.
In the event you are no longer the coach of the Patriots, would you be interested in coaching for another team in England?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into a lot of hypothetical situations.
Yeah, he's not, but by the way, good question. And he's not going to get into that. He did say at one point he's under contract there.
Yeah, first time we've ever really heard him
he's under contract. So
address his contract situation.
Right. So in terms of him saying, does he want to be here? He's like, yeah, listen, I'm over 70. I just stood in that snowstorm yesterday, that looked awful. I know I'm a professional coach, but the fact that it doesn't look like he even went home and changed, quite frankly.
Yeah, that looked awful.
He is, I'm telling you, I saw him in person. He is as locked into coaching and into everything that involves coaching as possible. And when he says, I do it for the team that I'm contracted for. That's the way it always has been. He's also letting you know, I've got a contract here. But that's the way he looks at everything. You know, I coach this down, and then I move on to the next down, and then I move on to the next quarter, and I move on to the next half, and I move on to the next game, and I move on to the next opponent. And then more often than not, he wins it because he's an outstanding coach, and the players he's had there have been outstanding. And that's the question about him being the one to shop for groceries. Is it possible he stays and has a different structure around that? He was asked about that.
Yeah, I'm for whatever, collectively we decide as an organization is the best thing to help our football team. And, I have multiple roles in that, and I rely on a lot of people to help me in those responsibilities. If somebody's got to have the final say, I have it. I rely on a lot of other people to help. And, however that, whatever that process is, I'm only part of it.
Just a cog in the wheel of the machine. Did he say I have it, meaning he's got the final say? I mean, I think that's obvious, right? I mean, it's entirely possible they get somebody who he respects immensely that will be the general manager, but then push comes to shove. Like, this is part of the conversation the Crafts are going to have with Bill is like, draft room, we're on the clock. That person not named you is the one who's making the call on the draft choice. I don't think he stays for something like that. I don't think he stands for something like that.
Doesn't seem like it.
And can you blame him? Can you blame him?
No, but
at
things
this
change.
point in time, I know things change, but at this point in time, at this point in his career, you don't think there's other teams out there
that are going to give him full control?
Yeah.
I think that would be tough if I'm an owner to give Bill full control at this point.
You don't think Arthur Blank would do that?
If I'm a Falcons fan, I would hope that he doesn't.
Or they once went to a Super Bowl. Thomas Dimitroff came from the Patriots. Like they've had a general manager who's come from Bill's cloth.
That's a thing.
To build a team that they were up 28-3 on Bill.
You can't live in the past when you're deciding this type of stuff. You can't.
Well, that's what I think we're laying out for you what this major puzzle is all about.
I mean, Carolina just fired their GM this morning. They have both spots open.
Because they're clearing the decks.
But
Whoever they're hiring is going to have, I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be my Michigan head coach. It could be for, I don't know, it could be for Bill. But Bill, he's like, I'm coming to work. I bet you he's doing today, outside of whatever meeting they might be having, if he is meeting with the Crafts, I bet you whatever he's doing today, if I had a wager, is everything that he's ever done on a Monday after any season he hasn't made the playoffs, which is rare. I mean, he's just probably going about his business and taking some cold medicine, I hope. Imagine how this must feel. He just stood outside in the snow watching that against the Jets team of all the and that's another reason why he probably doesn't want to leave. You think he wants to walk out on a home loss to the Jets? That's his last game as a Patriot coach?
Hey, Tom Brady's last game was a home playoff loss with a pick six. I mean, it happens.
To Vrabel.
Who
I know.
be,
I know. That's who you're. That's on your hope chest. Say, well, you take a line. There's a bunch of people, in Columbus, Ohio, hoping the same thing.
Also, I mean, I saw other people point this out. I kind of thought the same thing. Bill pointing out that he's under contract. You think Bill, the GM, is going to want to give up a draft pick of a new team he goes to?
No.
So he is either the head coach next year or he's fired.
Which is a way to maybe, but they have to. Listen, you have to understand this. Bill's got to come home at some point.
I don't think Bill would take it personally. Bill used to get rid of guys a year or two to. He traded Richard Seymour, who's wearing a red jacket now.
I get it.
Before he was done in New England.
Okay. Well, this all has to be hashed out. I mean, I think we have just truly laid out what is going to be had. Because if you're Robert Kraft, you got to be like, listen, the players on the field are just not what we're used to, and you know that, Bill. Like, you know that.
Oh, they're the worst roster in the league.
And so, and the coaching staff that you put together for Mac, Mac was a healthy scratch. He didn't even play. He wasn't even active against the Jets.
He got benched for the AI quarterback yesterday.
Yes.
I don't even know his name. I just know him as the AI guy.
It's Nate.
Nathan O'Rourke.
Yeah, that's right. Nathan Rourke.
That sounds made up.
The Canadian that the the Jaguars had for a bit. I know, dude. It's just not Patriot-like at all.
If Robert and Jonathan can convince Bill to accept someone to help him in the player personnel department.
That has the final say in the draft room.
Yes.
Because that ain't happening. I don't think Bill does that.
I would love if Bill came back next year as head coach.
Dude,
I just don't see it happening.
You should. There's nobody
I just don't see it happening.
Better than him. Whoever you get will be a downgrade. Period. End of story.
Head coach.
As somebody who will get you ready for game day and know how to handle in-game situations. Correct.
But he's in his 70s.
That's a fact. So what? Who cares? So is Pete Carroll.
Pete doesn't have final say on personnel.
Well, I mean, sure.
That's what I mean.
Right. So why can't we find that?
I'm saying Bill's not going to be as amenable to change.
I don't know. If they bring in somebody who's from his realm that he can handle.
I mean, Scott Pioli's on NFL Network. Let's get him back in the building.
Well, it could be the Ziegler fellow who the Raiders just bounced.
We'll see.
I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting week. I don't know when we're going to have a decision, but I imagine it'd be soon.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.